see if we can get one. Getting things situated here. From being back from Shipwrecked. Welcome to the Woodshed, everyone. It's good to be back, music lovers. It is good to be back. We've been on the high seas all last week. And ranging from being the band leader, musical director for the Stowaways, those two headlining sets, to my own stuff. Figured we'd talk about what it means to be a career player. But I haven't warmed up today, so might as well try to play a tune and warm it up. Knock the dust off of it, if you will. I think we will. Who knows? We may not, you know. Let's try one. How about it? That sounds good, right? Alrighty. Let's do one more. Why not? We're having fun. Maybe just a little more. Just a little bit. Let's do one more. Okay. Licks. Some licks in there. Tasty licks. All right. Do we have good audio or do we not? Wheedly Wheedly. Yeah. We're doing it. Somebody says the F-Zero space. I mean, like, it's totally that thing, right? It's all meant to be. The tune is just one of those tunes that you're like, man, I just want to blow the Eric Johnson licks all over the key of A. It's definitely inspired by those things, right? The Cruisin' USA F-Zero stuff. I hope everyone is doing great. Let me increase the font size here on the old internet screens. Oh, man, it's good to see everybody in here this week. Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. We had a big week last week. We had NAMM last week with the new guitars, which is really cool. I'm going to answer a couple of quick questions right here that I just see that are coming in. One is from Stuart. He says, is your trim set up? Is it floating? Have you ever used a trim stopper? Yeah, the trim does float. I find that it's, you give up the stability. Like when you break a string, you're just kind of hosed. But man, it's nice when it's... It's nice. I also like some of the, some of that stuff's nice. You get some really neat sounds with it being able to move, Mine kind of goes up a whole step. Yeah, if I take it all the way up. My favorite current amplifier right now is this Sir SL68. I really like it a lot, man. I like that big clean plexi thing. I mean, it sounds gorgeous with the cleans. Sounds good with the driven stuff. It sounds great with the... Great on that thing too. Sounds good on all that kind of stuff, you know? It's just a workhorse. I like something that just kind of stays out of the way and lets me color the sound as is. I'm gonna turn off this second camera here. You guys can take a look at it. Let's do this. There it is back there. Yeah. Excuse me, I got a little bit of just a little crud from traveling. Okay. Now, the name of today's hang, the career musician. What does it mean to be a career musician in 2025? What does it mean to be that guy? Because it doesn't wear one skin. Used to be the thing was it was the guy touring with the big bands, and they would be on the cover of Guitar World or whatever, and that would be like Steve Vai, right? He's playing with David Lee Roth, the next Van Halen, guitarist, or it would be Zakk Wylde, and it would be like, the next Ozzy Osbourne guitarist. And it was kind of, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but the archetype of the career musician was kind of just maybe one dimensional. You were a session player or you were a road player. Like it was just kind of that. Now with the career player, it's really morphed, and the internet has made it an interesting landscape for the career player. And you're seeing a lot of different folks from a lot of different walks of life and a lot of different ways of monetizing. And I think it's very interesting, inspiring, and it's taken, some folks are taking it like hyper competitively, and then other folks kind of see it, which is through the lens that I see it through, which is it's actually less competitive because there's more room for everybody to do their own thing. Right. You've got the acoustic guys that slap and beat on the guitar, and that's the thing. And then you got bluegrass guys finding their way, and you got, like electric guitar players, you've got guys that are teachers, guys that are content creators, and that's a different thing too. So, let's talk about the experience this week that I had at, Shiprocked. First and foremost, I consider myself a bit of an old school kind of career player. I started touring professionally when I was in 2014 was my first big boy gig with buses and airplanes and tractor and trailers and things like that. And then from there it went, just kept getting crazier, big arenas, award shows, all that kind of stuff. I've done all the things in that realm of a live player as a mercenary. Now, In 2019-ish, 1819 was like the year that Junktown came out. Now, I always made records on the side. I made my solo records. It's kind of something that I did for me, and if folks want to find them, they could. But in 2018-19, when Junktown came out, it really changed the scope for me. And it was like a bit of a little bit of crack in the Hoover Dam. And we followed up with Charisma last year in August, September. Yeah, August. And at this point now, it's full-blown solo artist. And it's fun to look at it that way, where that now has garnered all of my attention. It takes all of my efforts to be the solo artist and do that thing. Now, I still love to do hired gun mercenary work. One of my favorite guys to work with is the lead singer from Rascal Flatts, Gary LaVox. We have a good time together. The hang is good. The picking's good. We've had a great few years making music. It's been a blast. Another thing that I do that's really fun is the Stowaways, which is on the Shiprocked event. And the Shiprocked event was bananas. It was so much fun. And one of the things that entails is taking 2 90-minute sets of all cover music, but you're putting all these different super players in these environments and making these miniature super bands with every song. For instance, we did Rainbow in the Dark with Joey Belladonna from Anthrax on lead vocals. Leanne Bowles, who's the MD musical director for Demi Lovato, on bass. And Jerry from the drummer from King's X was playing drums. And so that was insane. You're playing this legendary Dio song with a couple of legends. It's wild, right? So how do you get into the position where those opportunities happen? And how do you get into allow and being prepared when they do happen to deliver? But how do you do it? Because there's two sides of it. Actually, there's three sides, really, when I think about it out loud. There's three sides to it. One, you have to be a legend. So, first off, you have to be the lead singer for Anthrax or the drummer for King's X or something. You got to be a legend. That garners you the invite to be a stowaway, right? You have to have some sort of pedigree within the music industry to be a stowaway, whether it be touring, whatever. Another stowaway that got there on her content creator side was Sophie Lloyd. She's been making videos on YouTube forever. And, she's got that influencer thing going on. So she came on and that was her ticket to the game. The other side of it is you end up in a position where, like I am, where you are and maybe like Leanne or whatever, and you have worked for big artists. Maybe you yourself are not in King's X or Anthrax, right? But you've worked with big artists. Like when you say Leanne Bowles and you go, oh, who's that? And I go, she's the bass player and band leader for Demi Lovato. Immediately it garners the sense of respect. Nobody in the room, whether they've heard Leanne play or not, would doubt her validity on stage. It's like, dude, if you're touring with a number one pop act in America and you are the MD of that pop act, then yeah, there's the thing. And then the third side of it is you're on the creating side of it, which is a bit like where I am. And on a gig like the Stowaways, there's really only one of those positions, and it's the musical director, because you got, between 40 and 50 different artists, and you're going to play 40 something different tunes. Maybe not 40, you got 30 to 35 artists. You're going to do 2 90-minute sets, and each set's 22 or 3 songs. At some point, you've got to make the decision to hire a musical director. I hire a music director for Woodshed. I started that last year. You can't be all things to all people. And so sometimes you need to outsource. And so when you hire a musical director, you're hiring someone to wrangle. So your 3 sides is either be a legend, work for a legend, or be the musical director, right? And that's how that kind of opportunity comes about. This dovetails into what it means to be malleable as a guitarist in 2025, and as someone who wants to be a career player. And there's a lot of you guys in the chat that you don't want to be career players. That's great, man. It's like I if I was a neurosurgeon, I'd be worried about brain surgery and then playing music on the side, right? But I'm not. I'm a career player, and I figure it'd be a great place to talk about this type of thing today. At some point, you have different walls that come up, and they go down as you progress through your career. The first thing is like, how do you even get your foot in the door? And what does it mean to get your foot in the door? What is your goal of what are you trying to do? Identifying that is really difficult, because we as guitar players like to think, of musicians, we like to think if I practice enough, if I'm good enough, then the phone will ring and off we go. That's sort of true in that the phone will ring and then off you go to the audition or the hang to see if you're the right fit. You can be a great player and not be the right fit. If they're looking for somebody that plays pedal steel and banjo and you don't play pedal steel and banjo, it kind of doesn't matter how good of a guitar player you are. You're just not the guy. So as those barriers go up and move around, you can leverage them when you get past them. First things first is knowing your goals. Do you want to play as a hired gun? Is that your end game goal? Do you want to be a studio player? Do you want to be an artist? I'm seeing Fishbulb says, I still want to be, this is in chat right now. Fish is saying, I still want to be a career player, but I'm worried that my window has closed. I don't know if I buy into that. I think your opportunities may have shifted. I don't think it's ever really closed. It takes a certain amount of investment and knowing what your goal is. And investment oftentimes means time more than money. You have to invest your time into your craft. If you're incredible at Van Halen songs, like let's just say you're incredible at Van Halen songs, your opportunity is very niche. How many guys need someone that's incredible at Van Halen songs for a career player? That's not a really in-demand skill set. As much as it's badass and we all love Van Halen, there's a couple of things to factor. One, Alex, the other brother, has pretty much openly said it's over and he's not going to play anymore. Two, Sammy and Mike are touring and they've got Joe Satriani. I don't think Joe's going to not take the gig. So your skill set of what you can do and what you've invested your time into has become very niche. If you're only good at 80s shred and you can't riff, like you can't throw down a good metal rock rhythm, you're not going to be strong in today's rock community. I was just on a cruise with 30 something acts ranging from Hollywood Undead to Parkway Drive. A lot of acts have been on the Shiprock cruise, Godsmack, Korn, Papa Roach. Like these are artists these type of artists need guitar players, but they don't necessarily need somebody that knows main streets. It's not required, right? You've got to invest your time into what it is that you're going after. And flexibility for this is all just from the musical side. How flexible are you in today's environment? Do you know how to play with a click? Do you know how to play the tracks? Can you find parts? On the cruise, a lot of my job is to dictate what goes where, because when someone learns a song, let's say you're going to learn, I don't know, one of the songs be Relax by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. That's got a lot of keyboard parts and a lot of guitar parts, a lot of things moving around. You don't need everything blasting the same part. So that's where MD comes in and says, hey, you do that part, you do that part, we'll do this in the middle, and that'll be off to the races. So you have to be really aware when you're learning songs to learn all the different nuances and ins and outs of it. These are growing pains. And oftentimes you don't understand that this is the case until you've been on a gig and had your teeth kicked in. My first 2 days with Rascal Flatts, I got my teeth kicked in because I was positive I'd learned all the correct things. And in reality, I'd learned all of Jodon's parts. It's like I'd not been aware enough to go, oh crap, well I need to do this and I've got to move this over here. And Jodon's parts in Flats kind of shift because he's doing hero parts and then he's going to get off of a hero part when he has to sing something. So he's moving around. You have to learn to work with those things. There's a lot of awareness, and that's a key word in how to be a hired gun. Now, your window of age, Fishbowl saying age. I don't know if I buy that. And let me give you an example. There's a guy called the Metal Dad or the Metal Guitar Guy, Metal Guitar Dad or something on YouTube. He's got a great career going, a great channel. He's an older cat. There's another older cat that was on America's Got Talent. You need to change what you think that goal is. Now, I'll tell you right now, I don't think, what's her name? Sabrina Carpenter. I don't think she's going to call you. If you're in your 50s or 60s, you're probably not going to get the Sabrina Carpenter gig. I could be wrong, but she's probably not calling. So Josh is saying arthritis is the only window, and it's still only a limiting factor. Look is a window. Image is a window. That is for sure a window. You just hope that by the time you're Satriani's age or Sammy Hagar's age, that you've established what you are. So when you get older, it's like, well, I'm just an older version of what I am. Tom Morello, I think Tom Morello's pushing 60 if he's not in his 60s. He's 50 something for sure. So you go, Alex Skolnick is another guy that's these are killer career players that are getting older. Hell, I'm getting older. It's like we're all getting older constantly. Guthrie Govan is getting older. We're all moving. We're all aging. So when you talk about age and image, you just got to be like, where do I fit? Yeah, Josh is saying some bands even wear masks, but that's some bands. So how many bands are those? I think of Slipknot, I think maybe Hollywood Undead, and they don't even wear masks anymore. It's like, there's not that many opportunities. So when you go to, you narrow it down, what genre do you want to be in? And within that genre, what skill set do you want to have? The most important skill set, this is going to be pro tip coming at you, A-Wood pro tip. The most important skill set you can have is be able to do a lot of things. Like I can play really, and this isn't meant to sound egotistical, but I'm a strong acoustic player. I'm a strong mandolin player. I'm a strong electric player. I can even get the job done sort of on a banjo. Like if I've got to do some kind of session, I'll get a banjo and get the part right. And I'm not a banjo player by any stretch of the imagination, but I can track you some banjo. I've got a fiddle sitting right here in front of me. I'm not trying to be a fiddle player, but I'm just trying to expand. I love the fiddle because my granddad played it. I'm not really trying to make that a career thing, but I'm just saying these are valuable things. The next level is like, are you good with computers? Are you good with our cameras? Are you good with Logic? Are you good with plugins? Are you good with amp modelers? Like, are you the guy that can, because we're getting into an interesting phase where a lot of guitar techs, if they're old school guitar techs, they're not comfortable in today's new school world of modeling and software and all this stuff. So it's like, are you great at that? When somebody's rig goes down, can you help save the day? That's just another mark in your cap that will be like, yeah, man, that guy gets great sounds. He knows how to make stuff work when you're under the gun. These are valuable assets to have in your toolkit, like in your war chest. The other side, and I want to jump into this because we're chewing up a lot of time here talking. The other side of being a career player is exactly what I'm doing right now. Do I consider myself a content creator? No. Do I make content? Yes. So I'm live streaming right now. It's something that you guys seem to enjoy. And as long as you come here on a Tuesday, we're going to keep live streaming. It's like if you want to go down the TikTok rabbit hole and have a niche of like playing instrumental versions of pop songs. These are things that people do and create livelihoods on it. teaching in today's world has never been easier with things like Zoom and, all the different platforms that you can create stuff on, even having your own website. This all takes an investment of time. Unfortunately, and I'm going to circle back to this, a lot of musicians think that the only time investment that they need to do is the time investment into their instrument. That's just one lane. That's just one lane. Being good is just one lane of it. Billy Strings is really aware of a lot of different sides of the game. The guy's on podcasts with Theo Vaughn. Now, does he get on there and play some guitar and play some bluegrass and rip it up? Hell yeah, he does. It's awesome. But he's aware of the game. Joe Bonamassa is aware of the game. Is he just the guy that stands on stage and play? Absolutely not. He's shooting videos at Norman's Rare Guitars. He's got his own blues cruise. He's doing a benefit for keeping the blues alive. I mean, Joe is aware of every side of the game. You are not in a one-dimensional field when you are a career musician in today's world. And the more you have mastery in these other sides of the game, the stronger you are. And the more in demand you'll find. Now, let's triple down on that and say it's the power of 1,000 loyal fans that will keep you afloat. I don't see a lot of guys that are peers of mine that I love dearly, that are heroes, mentors. They're not playing to 10,000 people every night. And I don't think it's going to hurt their feelings if I say their names out loud. Eric Johnson doesn't play to 10,000 people every night. Steve Vai does not play to 10,000 people every night. Has he in his life? Yeah, of course he has. But it was with Whitesnake. It was with David Lee Roth, Greg Koch, Andy Timmons. These are amazing career-oriented dudes that are monster players. The 1% of the 1% is who I'm talking about. But they're not playing to these massive numbers. So how do they make a great living? How do they get by? They're aware of every aspect of it. Like Greg Koch is aware of great merch. He's aware of cost management in touring. He owns his own vehicle to tour. Like these are things that a savvy, wise, sage individual is aware of, and how they can make the most amount of capital with the least amount of risk. I'm in that process right now. I would love to tour with my friend Travis Toy on steel, fiddle player, bass, drums, keys. I would love to have this huge band that made the songs sound just like the album, but I can't do that. So what I'm doing is stripped down versions where we're playing them as trios to manage costs. And a lot of you guys are probably going, yeah, I know that. That's fine if you know that. Can you execute it? How many times have you done it? These are aspects of it. Are you aware? I had a mentorship. I do mentorships on my Patreon as well as lessons. A lot of times folks will sign up at the high tier of my Patreon. That gets you, among all the other things, it gets you 30 minutes of my time a month for whether it be a private lesson or a mentorship or whatever. And I had a young guy who's got a band and he wanted to do the mentorship thing, and he gets a hold of me and we line it up, and I get on there and I hit him with some hard questions. I'm like, you got a band, you're touring? He's like, yeah, we're really trying to get out there. I was like, okay, how many videos do you have on YouTube? And he goes, like 8. And I said, you need a 0 behind that. You need 80, because you need to be at the forefront. You know who's killing it right now? High Fade. My boys in High Fade from Great Britain are killing the game. They've got 400,000 followers on Instagram. They go busk. They're a trio that's like high octane funk trio. They're killing it. And they're just aware. Now, they've got an image, they've got an art style, they've got a musical statement. Do you guys see when you scope out, it's more than just being good at the instrument? All the way down to the brand. Ben, I got Ben, it kind of belongs to the business, the Andy Wood Music business, but like a bass that's whiskey barreled. So when we're on stage, the bass and the guitar match. Like, wear the suits. the big brimmed cowboy hats. We do all of these things. Roscoe's saying touring is tough when you have to have health insurance. Absolutely. But what you just said applies to every mother trucker in the game. Let that sink in. So if you want to be a career player, it is risk and reward. It's gambling. It's gambling. That's all you're doing. Now, here's the flip. I think being a lawyer or a doctor or a nurse practitioner, that's gambling as well. An old ex of mine who was a giant thorn in my butt, she went to Vanderbilt and took out this huge amount of money to do an NP program. And now she has 6 figures. And now she's not even doing it. It's like, that's gambling. So you lost that money. You lost 6 figures. So when you say, who was it that had that comment about health insurance? Roscoe, my man, Roscoe P. Coltrane. Nice. I like that. I love the Deuce of Hazzard as a kid. Roscoe says touring's tough when you have to have health insurance. Absolutely it is. But you've got to be willing to put those chips on the table. That's the last part of being a career musician. You have to be willing to bet. Chuck can tell you this a lot. The term I heard at NAMM was social media is your business card. Absolutely, it's your business card. Social media is your business card. That shows people what you play like. That shows them what you look like. Shows them what your image is. Shows them what your art style is. But you have to be willing to bet it. And a law degree at University of Tennessee, it's going to be $100,000 or more, $200,000. Who God knows how much it is. But they're betting the farm that that's the thing. Now, let me ask you this. I'm going to ask the same folks, Roscoe and Jason and some of you guys in here, Josh hanging out. Are you willing to bet $100,000 on your playing? I mean, I can tell you right now, with Andy Wood and the album Charisma, we clocked in about $33,000 in overhead to make that record, give or take. That's not music videos. That's betting. That's gamble. That's legalized gambling in every state. I'm gambling $30,000 that I can make a musical statement that's powerful enough that I can recoup that $30,000. And all that is scaling. Look what it means to be on Shiprocked. You guys know what the overhead is to rent a mother effing cruise ship? You understand what kind of gamble that is? Now you're going to have acts that range from $2,000 to $90,000. So you're going to gamble a giant 6-figure, maybe even 7-figure talent budget. Now you have to get insurance for the whole boat. These people that run these businesses that I'm referring to, they don't come from money. These are not old money people. These are people that are coming in to the game. Yeah, so like Carrasco said, unfortunately, the heart disease, so I have to have insurance. I didn't, I'd definitely be on the road. But you don't have to be on the road to be a career musician. Asterisk. If you want to be a career musician, you don't have to be on the road. Tim Pierce sitting on the road. Rick Beato got there from not being on the road. These are monoliths in the industry. Now, does everybody get to be Rick Beato? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But just like not everybody gets to head up the biggest ad agency firm in New York. Not everybody gets to be everything. The career musician is no different than any other career. It's hard. And I've found in my experience, the ones that survive it are the most tenacious. Jason Hook was the guitarist for Mandy Moore. He left Mandy Moore. He started Five Finger Death Punch and exited Five Finger Death Punch. And now he's got another band called Flat Black. He's just tenacious. The bro has a work ethic. You can't question it. Who knows if the payout's going to happen? None of us know that. We don't know if we're going to get hit by a meteor. We don't know if we're going to fall off a boat and drown or hit by a car. No, we don't know these guarantees, and I don't want to sound too existential or anything. Like not trying to go there. But the career path of a musician is very challenging. Just keep going despite the age and the disappointments. But you have to be calculated. That's coming from Kundindu. Kundindu says, keep going despite age and disappointment. You have to be calculated. What is your statement? What are you going to sell? What are you going to do? You know, there's a lot of legacy cats out with Kenny Chesney, Luke Bryan, Jason Aldean. These guys are in their 40s, their 50s, 60s. Dudes out with Brooks and Dunn. Legacy acts aren't hanging it up today. They're not. They're not retiring today. Kenny Chesney is not retiring today. Brooks and Dunn says they're going to retire every year, and they never do. You know, it's like opportunities exist. You just have to be focused. What do you want? How many degrees away from your dream gig are you? Think about that for a second, guys. I want everyone in this chat to think about their dream gig. Now, don't say, I want to be Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin. That's not what we're talking about. Being an artist is not what I'm talking about. Degrees, Kundindu, degrees. Like, how many people are you away? When it comes to most pop country acts in Nashville, you guys are 1 degree away because you're hanging out with me on a Tuesday. Think about that. The internet makes you 1 degree away from your dream gig. Does that mean you'll get there? No, it doesn't. But does it mean that it leverages the chances against the house from a gambling analogy? Absolutely it does. Absolutely. It was a lot harder. When I got the Scott Stapp gig, I got it because I was doing another gig that was a benefit. And there was a drummer for Breaking Benjamin. He was also on the benefit, and he heard me play, and he got the Scott Stapp gig. So he recommended me for that's a very old world approach. That approach doesn't happen anymore. Now management teams just get online, look at somebody's Instagram or YouTube channel and go, yeah, I like him. Let's bring him in. You're 1 degree away from it. Everyone's looking. I mean, golly dang, guys. Kiki Wongo. I think that's her Instagram name. I think it's Kiki Wong is her real name. And I don't even think Kiki is it. But you guys know who I'm talking about. She's playing with Smashing Pumpkins. She got the Smashing Pumpkins gig. My good friend Colin, who grew up in Knoxville with us playing in bands, he got the Linkin Park gig playing drums. These acts look for people every day. Now, I'm going to hit you with tough love. And I talk to myself just as much as I'm talking to you guys. How much time are you putting into it every day? I'll tell you this, last week I was up at 9 o'clock in the morning, headed down on the cruise ship, down to rehearsal, to be there an hour before downbeat. Not 15 minutes. I want to be there. All my gear's there and it's set up. I want to be there an hour before downbeat of rehearsal. Throughout the day, I would work all day long, rehearsals, meet and greets, do all the things that I needed to do that were required of me, a show, if it was my own solo show. And I would be out at the end of the night, not only being networking with other musicians, but just being visible and friendly to all the attendees on the cruise ship till 2:30 in the morning. So 9 a.m. to 2:30 in the morning, I was on the clock. That doesn't make me better than anybody else, but that makes my work ethic really competitive. I'm going to work. I'm going to outwork most people in the industry. Jim Riley, he will outwork you. I don't care how hard you work. Jim Riley will outwork you. Daniel Kimbrough will outwork you. That's how they get the gigs. Kimbrough will get up and run sound at the Blue Plate Special while charting songs for the Jerry Douglas Tour and charting and preparing and MDing for Woodshed. He will outwork you. And he knows how to run the monitor board. And he knows how to set up instruments. And he knows how to play acoustic guitar. And he can sing. And he can front the band. He will outwork you. He is a menace. Mike Hicks will outwork you. He will produce your record. He will play the keys. He will sing. He knows the people to call. That's why they are. None of these guys are supermodels. Nobody that I'm talking about got their gigs on their looks. Nobody is a good looking guy. Like on that level of like the way Kiki looks or the way that Sophie looks. Nobody, these are just workhorses. And if you look at the amount of videos that Sophie or Kiki have put out, you could say they got it on their looks if you want to all day long. But when they've got hundreds of videos, they did the work. I can be swamped with MD duties, and I'm still going to take an hour to make a free live stream for YouTube every week. I'm going to make content for Patreon. Like, obviously, I couldn't do it last week, so this week we're going to do a lot. And the whole time I'm on the boat, I'm capturing video so I can post it. I can edit it and post it on Patreon for my patrons. The work ethic is the game. It is 1,000% the game. And then you have to be able to wager on it. Chuck will tell you, we wagered overhead to have merch shipped to the cruise. Andy Wood merch. It looks killer. It looks amazing. I can't wait to show it to you guys. It didn't make it to the boat. That's unfortunate. We lost that wager. But hopefully we will recoup it when we sell them on the Sir Clinic tour that's coming up and all the things that we have in store. And, you know, I can't wait for you guys to see the store, the Andy Wood Music Store. But yeah, you're going to win some and you're going to lose some. You know, you have to fly your band members down. That costs money to fly to Dallas to do a show. So it is the game of being multifaceted. And it's the game of awareness, because you can sit in your room and practice all day long and you're just going to be a really great guitar player. You could very possibly be one of the best guitar players in the world and die flat broke or in debt. It's terrifying. That also can happen if you're a truck driver, or if you're in the theme park industry, or if you make Porsche 911s and all of a sudden there's a big global outlaw on internal combustion engines. Like, there's a million things that can happen any day of the week. I think the world realized that with COVID. Anything can happen. So being afraid is just part of being a human at this point. And for me, I took that fear and funneled it into some music, made a record, worked my ass off on it, used every connection that I had. I used every connection. I called in every favor that I could for somebody to listen to it. I wasn't asking people for stuff. I made the record. I was just calling, hey man, will you listen to this song? Will you listen to this? You guys are that, like, you guys in the chat, you're that distance away. When people send me stuff on Instagram, I'll listen to it. Hell, man, I've paid it forward. I've recommended those people for gigs. Hey, man, this is your guy. This happens every day of the week. Band members unload players every day of the week. Keith Urban just unloaded some players. Some guys have been with him for years. Taylor Swift, she unloads players. You know, it's just the nature of the game. It's not right or wrong. You can't villainize anybody for changing what they want to do, because, man, they want to do different stuff. Look at Jeff Beck. He didn't make Blow by Blow for 50 years. He made different records with different people and made different statements. Jeff Beck and Carlos Santana are great examples of what it means to be, and they're heroes of mine because of this. They're great examples of what it means to be an instrumental guitarist, because they can play with other players. They bring their thing to other stages, to other environments. That's what I like to do. I bring my thing and who I am and what I do to environments like Shiprock, to Gary LaVox, and I try to give them everything I've got. So Joshua was saying, here we go, a little Q&A. Joshua was saying, so where are the non-corporate types of bands? What do you mean by non-corporate? Because even if you play at Harrah's Casino in Cherokee, North Carolina, the moment a 1099 is involved, you're corporate. So where are the non-corporate gigs? I would say those are the gigs you're going to get $200 for at your local bar in cash. They're going to pay you under the table. Anything else will be a corporate gig. Now, you might be a W-2, you might be a W-9. I don't know. You might be a K-1 if it's your business. Right. Josh is saying, or is it when their money gets involved, all bands become... When money is involved and taxation happens, you are officially corporate. That's how it is. Fish says, anybody doing this at any serious level is treating it as a business. There's absolutely no doubt about it, Fish. And the people that are bigger are risking more because they're spending more money. Now, their reward and their take is probably really high. Now, here's the great thing. Paul just beat me to the punch. Look at what Paul Vanova said. Claim that tax back on strings and plectrums. Claim it back on tools to create. You guys noticed when December came, I started buying amplifiers, start buying Explorers. I start buying tools that I need that I can use in my business because I want to write off those tools because I'm going to use them in the business. So I wait till it's the end of the year and I look at everything. I'm like, bro, I need to start getting some stuff. Not looking good. But you learn this game because it is a business. I took some hits early on because I was unaware. But those years now I got a little more gray in the beard and I'm a little more savvy. Multiple sides of business are in line with what we do. I mean, absolutely. Fish is saying I write on my subscription to Woodshed Patreon. I mean, absolutely. I buy those lessons. You telling me that Jack Gardner puts out something or Matteo Mancuso or somebody that I love, I'm going to buy it. A, they're my boys, so I want to give them some dough. Two, I'm going to write it off. These are just being aware, So musicians, this is from Lightning Strike. Musicians in the industry feed the machine that is responsible for the decline of good music. The effort of musicians, true passion, genuine expression. They also feed bad music. The quality of the music is a moot point in a lot of ways. Because not everybody likes Bruno Mars. I love Bruno Mars. I think he's great. I think that Unorthodox Jukebox record is a masterpiece. Not everybody likes it, though. So what's the point in intersecting the words good or bad? That just means that you may not like it. Do I own a single Hollywood Undead record? No. I watched their show Soundstage and they burn it up. They crushed it. The audience loved them. What is good or bad? That's irrelevant. They know their craft. They know their audience. They know their image. They know their sound. They go to work and they make the donuts. We love music. Let's just take a pause right here. We love music. All of us here. You guys are hanging out with me because you love music. I love music. We get very attached to what we love and we get very passionate about what we love. I'm so passionate that I'm still thinking about wrong notes that I've played over the past month, the past day, past hour. It's like I'm so passionate. I love this stuff. But unfortunately, that can cloud your business mind because everything needs to be perfect in your mind. No. You got a productivity. Perfectionism can prevent productivity. You've got to be aware that when you release something, it may be a sweet child of mine to where it gets to the point where it's so big you hate playing it every night. It's just, you hate how big it is. It may haunt you, I'm sure there's nights where Eric doesn't want to play Cliffs Dover again. But it's that big of a song, right? all of this passion and all this love, it clouds your decision making from a business standpoint. So if you do have a Sweet Child of Mine or a Cliffs of Dover, from a business standpoint, you're like, I'm playing Sweet Child of Mine tonight. I am playing, Radiohead, Creep, like the Stones, Jumpin' Jack Flash will happen. Like you are hearing that song. Baton Rouge by Garth Brooks, you will hear that song when you pay your money paper to go see him. That's part of being a smart businessman, being aware of what you make. You could draw these lines to, I love theme parks personally and roller coasters. I love cars. I love video games. I think a lot of folks get off track of what they're selling. I'm about to make the chat a very toxic place when I say this. I'm sorry. I think that's where the malfunction is with Disney and Star Wars. They lost track of what they make for who they want to make it for. Look at Overwatch. You gamers out there, why is Marvel Rivals destroying Overwatch? Because they know exactly what they're making and they know exactly who they're making it for. You can't be all things to all people. You just have to be. I love the mouse. I'm telling you, Josh, don't get it twisted. Walt Disney is one of my biggest heroes. His vision for what he wanted to make, I can't even imagine what it would be like to have his imagination. So don't get it twisted. But that doesn't mean that they're not able to make mistakes. And I think making a mistake is how they've bobbled, the franchise. And you could argue that, but I would just argue the fiscal numbers. I would just argue the watchers and the money made from and the merchandise. Look at all the merchandise. You used to not be able to find any of that merch on the shelves in the 2000s, even during the prequel era. And now it's just like it's on clearance racks. This kind of mentality ties into being a good businessman. And you have to put your passions over here. And you have to put your business forward. It's not up to us to say, this is good or bad. I'm not going to do what they do because they suck and I hate them. You can learn from somebody that makes art that you don't like. You can absolutely learn something. Because if they're playing to 4,000 people on a cruise ship, if they're a band that you may not have the record and you have no desire to buy the record, you still need to watch that show and go, what's got them here? What got it here? Because it didn't just happen. Somebody worked and there was some correct decision making somewhere and made the thing. Nicholas is saying, can you show mandolin tunes? I can. That'll be for another live stream because we're approaching the witching hour. That'll be for another one. Next Tuesday, Nicholas, it's going to happen. We'll do some mandolin stuff. I see you guys mentioning in the comments companies like Boeing and stuff like that. You see the quality control go down. I mean, it's like it's difficult. It's difficult to maintain. But I go back to what Joe Bonamassa told me. He goes, what's your statement? I know my statement. I know exactly what my statement is. I mean, and maybe we'll go out with one of the most important tunes on the new record because it's my statement, So to me, when I talk about all the gambling and all of the financial investment and all of the things that it takes to be, business savvy, at the core of it, I'm super aware of what I sound like, who I am as a player, what my instrument is, what it looks like, everything. I think it's just all of those things go together. And it starts with you. It starts with you. If you want to be a career player, what do you want to do? You shrink that. You focus it until you get on the path. Then when it gets on the path, you just keep digging, keep betting, keep wagering. And I think that you're only limited to how hard you want to work and how much time you want to put into it. Thank you, Bruno, so much. I appreciate the beer money, the dinner money. I'm gonna use that and go get something to grill up tonight. So I appreciate you. Cheers, my friend, all the way to Brazil, man. Yeah. Fat Thor is saying Guthrie, me, and Mateo. Oh, thanks. Those are big words, man. Guthrie is a huge influence. Man, I just really appreciate you guys, and it's a lot of real talk. It's definitely not a competition. Diego knows it. Yeah, it's not a competition. This is the best I can do with helping you, because the folks that I've mentioned, Greg, Timmons, EJ, Steve Morse, Petrucci, they have helped me, and they've given me sage advice, and they've all been right. And, when you step back and you go, well, no doubt, no duh, they're right. Look at their careers. So I really try to take those things to heart, and not only just take it to heart, but pass it forward and pay it forward. Pay the things forward, those that helped you, because folks helped them. Think about how many times Steve Vai mentions Frank Zappa. All of our heroes are on these mountains, but somebody had to help them at some point. Somebody had to say something that got them in their zone. So I wish you all the blessings that I've got, and a happy week. I hope if this helps garner some creativity, you just got to be you. You've got to think about what it is you want to sound like. It's not a matter of how many notes or how much distortion or anything. It's like, what's the statement? Because if you can say anything, what do you want to say? The reason Guthrie Govin's who he is because he writes killer tunes. Erotic Cakes was the album it was because the tunes were great. Those are great songs that he plays to this day. Before the shredding even starts, those are great songs. Before the shredding starts on Desert Rose, it's a great song. So think about your statement. Now, for business, I wish you all the best of luck in business. And remember that if someone's willing to bet the farm to be a nurse practitioner or a lawyer or an engineer, are you willing to bet the farm on yourself to be a musician? That's business advice. Be aware. LLCs, taxes, know your costs, know your overheads. I hope you all have a great week. Thanks for spending time with me. And for you Patreon Woodshed members, love you guys. I will be posting tons of footage that I got. It's all kinds of cell phone footage and high quality footage and everything over on patreon.com. I'll be spending the rest of the afternoon. I want to play some more guitar here for a little bit. And then I'm going to spend the rest of the afternoon editing for Patreon. So thank you. Chuck is putting the links in the chat. Make sure to click on those. If you want to keep the machine rolling, go to Patreon, throw $5 in the beer bucket, and jump over to andywoodmusic.com. The store will go live soon with brand new merch. It looks so sick. I can't wait to show it to you. Maybe I'll show you the shirts next week, and maybe we'll be up and running by then. Cheers, everyone. Much love to you.